All right, good afternoon. We are now continuing the confirmation hearing, this time with the appointment of Mr. Anthony P. Chargaloff, Jr. Again, this is the Committee on Economic Development, Agriculture, Maritime Transportation, Power and Energy Utilities, and Emergency Response. Mr. Chargaloff has been appointed to serve as a member of the Board of Directors for the Port Authority of Guam. At this time, I'd like to first recognize my colleagues, Senator Therese Terlahi, Senator Will Castro, Senator Regine Bisco-Lee, and Senator Amanda Shelton. I'd like to begin first with going on the order of those who signed in to provide testimony with Mr. Santos first. Okay. Mr. Ken Leon Guerrero.
I'm here to testify in support of Mr. Chargaloff's appointment to the Board of Directors for the same reasons I expressed my reservations and dependency on you people sitting up there regarding the analysis of Isa, I'm going to blow it, Koki.
That's correct.
You know, my layman's review of the packet for Mr. Chargaloff gave me enough information and confidence that he is outside of the chain of command, that there is a clear separation between Mr. Chargaloff and the administration and any other political entity that would be trying to exert influence over the actions that are before the port. Now, Senator Lee raised a real good point that I want to acknowledge. I have not been to every confirmation hearing. For those, I was going to say, for those of you who have been here a while, no, I only was in the 33rd and the 32nd and the 31st, but none of you guys were there. And the way board confirmations were held in those legislatures, the ones I attended, 90% of them were basically mutual admiration society parties, hearing last 15 minutes and gone. I have not been to any of the confirmation hearings that the 35th has held, and I don't think I attended any of the 34th either. So that's why when I expressed my concerns that the people of Guam are counting on you to do a thorough vetting of the candidates that come before you to represent the people. I just want to let you know that people out there are afraid right now. There's a lot of fear. They read the news and they see that, you know, contrary to popular belief or headlines in the media, the economy is not doing good. People out there are losing hours. They're losing income. Their ability to stretch their money from paycheck to paycheck is getting harder and harder every month. And there are issues before this port that could have a dramatic impact on that. That's why it's important from the people perspective that we do our due diligence. I'm glad I got a chance to sit in this meeting. I got a chance to see that this group of senators did go deeper into the water than I'm used to seeing at confirmation hearings. I hope that continues to be the process. And I will make it a point to attend a confirmation hearing that is run by Senator Lee on that basis. But I'm given, you know, based on the package, everything that I talked about earlier, I don't see the potential for conflicts of interest from a public point of view with Mr. Chargaloff. And I know that any other candidates that are coming before him are politically inclined to be supportive of the administration. That's just the way it is. That's how this game works. But once these people are seated in these boards and commissions, then their allegiance is owed to the people of Guam, and we're counting on you to make sure that they understand where their true allegiance is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leon Guerrero. Excuse me. Mrs. Maria Titano, please.
Good afternoon once again, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Maria Titano, for the record, and I currently serve on the board of the Port Authority of Guam, and I'm here today in support of Anthony Charala Jr. to be a member of the Port Authority board. I just met him. I think he'll fit the bill. I'm just kidding. He's young like Isa Koki, so, and like I said, that's my objective, was to get the young ones in there to help us out. But I'm looking forward to bringing in new, fresh perspective from the different board members. So again, I ask you to confirm his nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Taitsuno. Mr. Ken Chargaloff.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Chairman and honorable senators, good afternoon, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to testify in support of the nomination of Anthony P. Charala Jr. to serve as a member of the Board of Directors for the Port Authority of Guam. My name is Kenneth Charala, a retired educator from the Guam Department of Education. Let me openly offer full disclosure of my relationship with Anthony. Anthony is my nephew, the son of my oldest brother and the oldest of 91 great-great-grand children to Francisco and Ana P. Charala. But I am not here to support him from a consanguineal dimension, but rather from a professional standpoint during his tenure with the Guam Water Authority Agency, starting in September 1989 until his retirement in April of 2018. Anthony began his career with Guam Water Authority as Maintenance Worker 1 and worked his way up to plant leader and supervisor, to wastewater plant superintendent, to assistant general manager, to operation and maintenance manager. In an effort to reach these key positions, Anthony underwent exhaustive and comprehensive board certification training with Guam EPA in partnership with Water and Wastewater Leadership Center with the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He further pursued his public manager certification with Arizona State University. He also received numerous notable awards, such as the 2013 Governor's McPro Merit Cup of Excellence, Leader and Supervisor of the Year. Clearly, he held key positions in the agency with inordinate number of work responsibilities. He was undoubtedly an accomplished leader. As a member of his community, Anthony served in various capacities. He volunteered as a coach for St. Francis, Notre Dame, Academy of Our Lady of Guam High School girls volleyball and basketball teams, while fundraising for the athletes' participation in the Far East. Presently, he is a Eucharistic minister, and Father is here to attest to that, and a member of the St. Joseph Parish Council. He was the Vice President of the Finance Council and this year's Executive Committee President. As noted in the aforementioned, he held a multiplicity of responsible leadership positions throughout his lifetime and professional career. I am ecstatic to say that his qualifications are beyond reproach to serve as a member of the Board of Directors for the Port Authority. Anthony is a visionary, organizational, and ethical leader. He set high standards, expectations, and accountability for every work performed under his tender care. He was mission-focused, a slave driver, results-oriented, yet compassionate to the individual needs of his employees, yielding to high employee performance and morale. Anthony's vast and expansive experience in the field and significant successes truly personifies the highest standards of service, leadership, and character. He is, in every respect, a model leader and one in whom we have the greatest pride. He exudes uncompromising confidence to excel, if confirmed, as a member of the Board of Directors for the Port Authority. In closing, Anthony will not only be an asset to the Port Authority, but to the people of our island community. As the Port Authority postured its vision to be a high-performing agency, our island will benefit economically and foment future transformation of the agency's ability to provide high-quality services. I am filled with elation about his appointment, and I couldn't think of a better person more qualified. Honorable Senators, I am honored to fully endorse Anthony to this august body for his legislative confirmation. Should you have any questions or clarifications, I may be reached via my phone or email on the aforementioned address. Should you have any questions, thank you rather for your personal time. Sidus Masi.
Sidus Masi. Thank you, Mr. Charala. I'd like to call up now Mr. Paul Subba.
Hafare and good afternoon, Mr. Chair, committee members, and honored guests, and of course, the candidate. I just want to say that I've known Anthony Charala for almost a decade now, and everything that I've observed, I'm not a relative, except maybe if we go way back. My grandfather is originally from Inarajan, so maybe there's some connection there. There's no real connection to the administration at this point in my life or career other than knowing them in friendship and of that nature. But with Mr. Charala, I've observed in that short period of time his compassion, his leadership qualities that are outstanding. He's a no-nonsense type of person. And he can argue with the best, but he does it tactfully in a way that at the end of the conversation, they will understand his position. And usually his position is very succinct and undeniable, that he has the best interest of the individual and the issue that's at hand. I've observed him in his village, and I've seen how he addresses issues of his particular village with a passion. His interest is to help not only every village member, but those that come through the village, because he wants to improve the village. And then he's taken his desire as a Chamorro man to make Guam a better and safer place in our discussions about situations in Agate, in my village, that he is willing and wanted to figure out ways that we can help the youth, not only in Inarajan, but Agate as well. It was interesting that now he is has been appointed, but I'm very grateful that he's appointed to this board because of what I've seen in the discussions with him on local issues. And one of the most important issues is, of course, what's coming and going from our port, and how he will be able to work with the folks that work at the port, but more importantly, how the people of Guam, as you heard from a previous speaker, what benefits will be made through the decisions that are made. And I can tell you this, from my observation, he will make sure that nothing is done just because of the relationship or the fact that he was appointed. I think in our conversations too, he made it clear that you know, he's going to look for the best interests of the people of Guam. Now, you have other folks here to support. If you have any questions for me, I'm available at any time, and you can contact me. But I am in support of this gentleman here, and I think he's going to make us all proud.
Thank you, Mr. Subba. Mr. Willie Brennan.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Senators. Guahusi Willie Brennan, Tauto Chalampagu. I am a retired Guam Police Department Lieutenant, providing testimony in support of Anthony Charala, or Ton. Only now I get to call him Anthony. as he is more commonly referred to, nomination to serve as member of the Board of Directors for the Port Authority of Guam. We became friends years ago when both our youngest daughters played various sports together at Notre Dame High School. We later became parties when his daughter Kaylee received confirmation. Obviously, as a friend, you'd expect me to support him, but it's more than friendship that brings me here today. His uncle addressed already his history, his work history, so I won't touch on that. However, Ton is no stranger to the board or commission. He has had to appear before, and answer to the Consolidated Commission on Utilities numerous times. He understands the importance roles boards play in good governance and demonstrates the integrity expected of a board member. More importantly, Ton answers to no one but his conscience. He won't hesitate to ask the tough questions or call out something he believes is wrong. Trust me, I know this. I've experienced it. He will serve in the best interests of all rather than a few. He's a man of faith, family, and culture. I like to think in my 25-plus years in the police department, I've acquired a few skills through my trainings that I have received, and I have seen in Anthony a lot of the things that I wish I had when I was growing up. The knowledge that he's going to bring, if confirmed to this board, is very, very significant. He brings a lot of experience, and I just hope that you give him an opportunity and confirm him to the board so that he can make a difference and be somebody that we'll be all proud of down at the Port Authority. Thank you. Si Diyos maasi.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. Father Jojo, did you have any comments? Please press the, there you go. Thank you.
Sorry. Chairperson Senator Clynton Ridgell, Vice Chairperson Madam Speaker Tina Munya Barnes, and all the members of the Committee of Economic Development, Agriculture, Maritime, Transportation, Power and Energy, Utilities and Emergency Response, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen in this august hall, a very pleasant good afternoon to all of you. My name is Father Joseph B. Anori, the Parochial Administrator of St. Joseph in Inarahan. When I found out that Mr. Anthony Charala Jr. is being nominated for the Board of Directors for the Port Authority, I felt I need to support him by giving this testimonial based on his involvement with the church, specifically St. Joseph Church. I understand that this afternoon's hearing is to determine whether Mr. Charala is highly qualified and up for the oftentimes daunting tasks and challenges in the Port Authority. I know you will diligently scrutinize his credentials or curriculum vitae or whatnot. However, let me say something about choosing the right person for the job. We all know that it is fundamental to ask whether his expertise, based on his job background, would highly help the said government agency for the common good of our community in general and the Port Authority itself. Moreover, they say any expertise comprises of three things: knowledge, skills, and capability. Obviously, knowledge and skills can be taught, trained, and acquired over time through utmost diligence, devotion, and dedication of the job. But without capability, those two qualities, that is knowledge and skills, are empty and meaningless. It is not just enough to have head and hands to get things done right, good and just. Moreover, it takes the heart to have a noble character and an unflinching attitude and an unrelenting truism to rise above personal interests and partisan affiliation. Capability, then, is the heart of what we learn and what we do. At first, I was a bit hesitant because of the fundamental principle of separation between the church and the state. But at the second thought, I realized that if I would not come here and speak about Mr. Charala, I betray his continuing and selfless self-giving service to St. Joseph and the village of Inarahan. From being an extraordinary minister of the Holy Communion or lay minister, vice chairperson of our finance council, member of the cemetery council, chairman of our Fiesta Executive Committee, and regularly doing ground and building maintenance for the church and many others. Those above-mentioned responsibilities of Mr. Charala make me believe that he not only has the knowledge and skills, but most importantly, he has the capability to serve well as a board member of the Port Authority of Guam. We need more people like Mr. Charala in the government of Guam who can dedicate and devote his expertise with a heart to serve the community. If public office is public service, then I would say Mr. Charala has that heart. I firmly believe that aside from having depth knowledge and extensive skills, capability, or shall we say, having the heart to serve is the best motivating factor for anyone who wishes to become a public servant. Sometimes it is disheartening to see public officials who claim to be brilliant and have all the skills in the world, but their heart for service is tainted with selfishness, pride, arrogance, and sense of entitlement. Slowly by slowly, their capability to serve the public erodes and diminishes. Pardon me if I use the common cliche of the church, which says, serve to lead, and serve and lead to serve. At the end, like Jesus Christ, our Lord and God, we are called to become servant leaders, those who really walk the talk. Furthermore, I know Mr. Charala is not perfect, neither he is superhuman. But let me assure you, this being a servant leader and his readiness and willingness to help when help is badly needed in St. Joseph Church and the village of Inarahan perfectly qualifies him to become a board member of the Port Authority of Guam. Thank you, and again, good afternoon to every one of us. Maraming salamat po. Undang ko lo si Diyos maasi.
Thank you. Thank you, Father. I'd like to call up also, I apologize if I don't get the name correct, but it's Maya Okomo? Correct? Okay.
Good afternoon, Senators, Chairperson Clynton, Ridgell, committee members. Again, my name is Maya Okomo. You pronounced it perfectly, so thank you. I know I'm used to my name being through the ringer. I was hoping my husband could make it, so I'm actually here on his behalf, but this is basically both how my husband and I feel. We've known Anthony for quite so many years. Over 22, 23 years with the Guam Department of Education. I have multiple master's degree in training in special education, guidance and counseling, and school psychology. I've also worked at the University of Guam as an adjunct professor. My family has been, Guam is our home. I come from Familia Ngodzu, originally from Magana. My grandparents are Clementina and Edward Perez, and I'm proud to say my mother was the first Miss Guam Universe. And I look like my father, unfortunately. So I'm gonna go ahead and read a statement from my husband, but note that I wholeheartedly believe and agree with everything that is written here that I'll be reading. So my name is Domingo Leo Campo, and I am here to wholeheartedly support the confirmation of Anthony P. Charala Jr. to serve as a Port Authority board member for the people of Guam. I will share some insights about Anthony, also known as Tone. It's very strange to call him Anthony. That we should leave no doubt in anybody's mind that he is the right person to serve on the Port Authority Board. Tone is a very accomplished man. He has risen through the ranks of the Guam Waterworks Authority up to the level of Operation Maintenance Manager. He's been with GWA since 1989, back then when it was known as PUAG, the Public Utility Agency of Guam. When we asked Tone what was the secret behind his successful career at GWA, he said there is no secret. He attributes his success to his work ethics, which was instilled within him at an early age by his father. He learned that getting the best result from work is to lead by example. Starting at the very bottom of the totem pole, he relied on the merits of his work performance to advance at every level. When it was his turn to lead, he took extra time to ensure his team was ready and well-equipped to do their jobs. Almost always, it was his team that was recognized to be the best team to call on for emergencies. His career excellence was highlighted with the following few, I'm gonna name a few of the many recognitions. 2013 MagPro Governor's Employee Recognition Award nominee for Manager of the Year, Large Department Agency, 2013 MagPro Merit Cup of Excellence Leader Award, 2012 MagPro Supervisor of the Year nominee, and 2012 GWA Quality Customer Service Award. And I've met so many of his fellow colleagues and coworkers, and you can just see the admiration in their eyes. You know, they go above and beyond for him because he goes above and beyond for them. Tone's service goes beyond the regular 9 to 5 working hours. He volunteers his time and service to others in so many ways. At GWA, he was on committees that organize employees' functions, such as the before-mentioned Liberation Day, Labor Day, and Christmas party celebrations. Tone would coach volleyball and basketball teams at Notre Dame, Academy of Our Lady, and in his village community, he is an active member of his church, serving as Eucharistic minister. We kind of went over the financial council, the member of the cemetery council, and chairman of the Inarajan Fiesta Executive Committee. He's so tireless and dedicated. I don't know when this man sleeps. He's always doing something, even after retirement. It's like, I think he's even busier now. I think he's the second busiest person on earth, and it's probably only second to the Pope. Anyone knowing Tone would describe him as a people person. We didn't even know him. There was no connections, there were no introductions. It was just us being involved in a common program. He saw us, he's like, yo, come over here. And he just took us in with welcome arms and made us part of his family. And it went beyond just that program. It's just in life. He was always quick to recruit us to participate in other areas of his life. That's just the way he is. He takes the time to know the people he is surrounded by. He also makes a conscious effort to make sure everyone he's associated with, either personally or professionally, are okay. And if they're not, he does everything in his power to help them out. He is the most giving and selfless person that I know, and his family is so much like that as well. And he'll even volunteer to help before he's even asked. I've also seen him encourage and inspire so many people who would normally stand on the sidelines to participate in activities that would make the community, not only in Inarajan, but the whole island, a better place. Tone believes that when everyone in his community is doing well, then his family will continue to live well. He always believes in giving back. He views helping others as worthwhile investment in living a happy and prosperous life. Above all, Tone is a family man. He's a devoted husband to Jay Blas Chargaloff, an administrative clerk at Inarajan Middle School for many, 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 many years. We go back a long way. He's a loving father to 2 independent and strong young women. His daughters are also following his footsteps for success by leading by example. Tone's family is well known and respected in his community, and every member of his family provides support to each other for whatever goals and projects they want to accomplish in life and in the island community. You know, I wanted to add in, Tone is an invaluable team player. He doesn't stop at no, we can't do it, it can't be done. He actively seeks solutions to problems and issues. He strives always to make things better than how he found it. One personal example is when we were involved in a wellness program, he came up to me and he's like, hey Maya, you want to get up at 4 a.m. on Sunday and do a 5K across the South? And I was like, heck no, an adamant no, because I'm not a morning person and I don't like exercise. So did he take no for an answer? No, he went around me, went to my husband and said, hey, let's go for a walk at 4 a.m. in the morning. And you know what? I got up and I went walking with the community every Sunday at 4 o'clock in the morning. Once I got out of bed and didn't curse his name, I actually enjoyed it and I thanked him for making me do it. And that's just how he is, you know. You may not like it, but you do it because you want to do it for him, and it ends up helping you in the long run. You see the value of where he's coming from. He's also a great leader who always pulls everyone in and drives them to participate. There are no wallflowers when Tone is involved. He always finds a way to get you in and have your input. There's another thing I noticed about him personally is, like if he sees a problem, like there's been some people that he knows who are unemployed. So he doesn't just, you know, give handouts. He's like, how can we fix this? And he looks for other people who might benefit from their quality or skills of services, and he hooks them up. So he always takes it that extra mile. And he's a retiree. It's not something that he has to do. It's something that he just does because it feels right. He has such a good character. I'm very honored to call him a friend. My husband would like to switch gears and talk a little bit more about Tone as how he knows him as well, a great friend. He would often spend hours talking with him, conversing over many topics, ranging from personal matters, politics, entertainment, or current events that are going on. In almost every instance, Tone would give insights that he was unaware of, or have a question that'll have him, you know, my husband take a step back and kind of look at things from a different perspective. He really shows that he's sharp, very observant, and is a quick thinker on the fly. There's been many situations where we've witnessed that maybe he doesn't know the answer, but by gosh, he's going to look into it, get that answer, and get back to you. He's a go-getter. He makes things happen. A lot of times my husband would talk to him about the state of Guam's public education. This is a natural topic since we're both involved heavily in that field. And my husband, as a science teacher, would often converse, bringing his wife Jay in because she also works at a middle school, about different experiences that they've had to come across and hardships that they've had to face. And although Tone is never, you know, taught publicly, officially in a middle school, he's very familiar with the socioeconomic and cultural challenges that Guam students face. And many times he's shown that he's patient, he always lends us his ear, he lets us vent our frustrations, and he'll ask some very good questions to help us reevaluate our situations that we're experiencing. So from there, he would give us a lot of the tools that would help us strategize on what we can do to resolve certain issues that are coming up that we're facing. And we really value this I can't talk anymore, his methods and logic and his insights. His input always gives us a better perspective on how we can be more effective as teachers as well as community members. My husband currently is also a teacher representative on the board for the Guam Commission for Educators Certification. And I believe, and we believe, that Tone possesses all the qualifications, the fortitude, the integrity to do the best service on the Port Authority of Guam board. His work experience in an autonomous government agency and his wide professional network will prove to be beneficial when serving on this board. So should you confirm Anthony P. Chargaloff Jr. to serve as a Port Authority of Guam member? Absolutely yes. He has the perspective of working through the ranks of GWA at almost every level and position. And the next logical step would be for him to apply his knowledge and experience when setting policy for the Port Authority of Guam. We thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Ocampo. Mr. Jess Perez?
Buenos dias. Thank you, Chairman Senator Ridgell, and members of the Committee on Economic Development, Agriculture, Maritime, Transportation, Power and Energy Utilities, and Energy Response for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Jesse Longo Perez, former Mayor of Inarajan. I am here to offer my support for Mr. Anthony P. Chargaloff in his appointment to the board. I am confident that Mr. Chargaloff will deepen the board's credibility and expertise to carry out the mission of providing quality services to the people of Guam. The mission of the Port Authority of Guam is dedicated to providing full services to ocean vessels in support of loading and unloading cargo, and its responsibility to deliver these goods in a timely and efficient manner. Mr. Chargaloff's experience as a public servant for 29 years in the government of Guam, starting from maintenance worker and working his way up to become the operation and maintenance manager upon his retirement with Guam Water Works Authority in 2018. His background relating to the daily operations at Guam Water Works Authority, including leadership and management skills, will assist the port in providing sound policies and improvement in the workplace. As the former mayor of Inarajan and a longtime resident of the district, Mr. Chargaloff is active in the parish of St. Joseph Church as a Eucharistic minister, vice chair of the Finance Council, and member of the Cemetery Council, and presently chairman of the Inarajan Fiesta Executive Committee. He also volunteers his services in the community, both in Inarajan and in Malolo. I ask for your support and confidence to confirm his appointment as a board of director at Jose D. Longuero Commercial Port, known as the Port Authority of Guam. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony on behalf of Mr. Anthony P. Chargaloff.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. There's a few more names on the list. I can't quite make out all of them, so if there's anyone else that would like to testify, please come up at this time. Mr. Meno, did you have anything? And anyone else who would like to provide testimony as well, please come up at this time. Sorry. Mr. Meno, go ahead.
Tinalo isay na para ilay. Jaho na ba'y finut sa moro. Sa tanut sa moro, gayi kita tilmido lang na tanut sa moro. Jajangin tiyong komprendi hafa pabaysangan. Jaho na hamduni i senidot, honorably, hu hindi ka na jaunayam dun irespetu, kintun, gumehilului esti, ipara i kumosuport, dan ipumalo ahensya, guahu si Vicentin Meno, Ben Meno, tau-tau inalan, bonito doon na songsong, imas megay na sabaw na, 9 na tolay, imas dangkulo na bikana. Bonito na gimadu sang usde, asagwan Santa Marangkamaling. Si Antonio na si Anthony, wagang Anthony Lahiu. Sa esta idakto, 85. The senior size siete biyay di ufanya lahihu si Antonio. Matudumagi gwini para bay supati si Antonio. Jasen magugdo sa tungo Ginin mamanu si Anthony. Ante di mafanyogo si Antonio at tagay gizo. Nadurot sa malada. Gimenan gimana niya. Kantunta si gimana niya. Tatodi tempo si Antonio pinipilan niya di oso. Untuk apa oso? Undang kulon atsu adu. Oso. The berak. Gaya gi kantong gimana na kada mata di Antonio dato malagi do ngali oso. Lo minagay gido gwini para ba supporti si Anthony. Lo gwaha mustotul badu ay naman bonito na naman minamis na palabra di man fanudong gwini si Pauli. Si Hakin. Si Paul Subba. Dan di pala ni pagwa kumik dan di pumalaman. Yun ang timanggi na eh. Sa gwagyalong ofisinaw gagyalong kwato kutay gini at size na diksyonaryo gini ni University of Guam. Law da English sa gwaw law profe nino. Pwede ti palabra na ini para umatugi papa. Siyang bonito. Ilunisan naman aalit. Itikitalo na gayagyo gini. Laulahin taw-taw inalahan si Antonio. Da komo put inalahan sa mo sitan na tipabay fatu. Labunti man halet hagaga. Ito na gayagyo gini pabay support si Anthony. Law estigi na dangkulo na istot busti paragwaw sa ipumalo iman mapus na administrasyon. Estigi hatok sa antiho. Diyang kurason no sa hafaan. Dan inakaw na di edot ifayaan na. Bagsangaw niyo, tunga famot niya, at kuhot. Saan yun hano doon omak. Fanaligaw put fabot at pat Clorox adidos. Para na magong inaka niya. Isigundo talo, Mr. Dr. Badyo na sa mga kwento si Gwiniput para ta-confirma si Antonio. At tigi uno obligasyon niya si Antonio na. Humalo madi mafananan Rhino Bido. Hafa bidal niya Rhino Bido, paupuno todo di trongkon nidok. Hafa nang sasangan na esti. Sa ipwet na ipwet humahalom irikesa. Igwinaha law kwantugi dahamdo magahit kurason niya na paupulan dan kau paupulan magat si Antonio edzu kau magahit na ti paro man na isgin papalamasay sa lapid along na may Christmas tree dabay apasyo 1,000 pesos incomprendia di man mapus siya. Estigi nai ipuntok ko gwini nai. Gusmaguvdo matucinya di bay ihetsi. Na una isi Antonio neno na oportunidad. Na isi Antonio neno na titulo ni para halum daw sauno mang kontributi mamatinas desisyon interimenti ni dinanti tunas honorable ja ufaisaon ufahina adusia na tso iparotso gwi sa pati eno gichito niya sa tungo put Port Authority Board of Directors. Dadaw na publicamente i-Board of Directors lahin niya si Rospicio. Kumikili ko si Rospicio, magas niya i-board. Debi dita comprendiano. Da mga na manalebok. Da atipod politika. Law ichitsol niya si Antonio na si Anthony gosiroso. Sa hafa na siroso at tagin ay pagunat tapadedisi. Sige bago nan lumili ko gitano, giisla, hafon li itong kunidok para ufan mga tayo todo. Sa hafa, ginin manuel jo. Ginin manuel jo. Ginin ipwetto. Ipwetto na umaulum jo. Sa hafa, na umaulum jo man mamay go, na itaw-taw ta. Ang bikilis daw no, may la data. Ta-accepta naman mamay go. Anay haduti 23 na atomic bomb i Amerikano gi auto bikini. Tada kumentos man maygoy sa moro. Pago man mamadedisit. Pus mayla na isa agmanggayid gwini na para makonfirma si Antonio. Damo nga natasusedi ta lumas. Bibida, chetnut, gaga. Sa tita atendi, law ay naman bonitong palabra, confirma si Antonio. Daman sen man nga daungan. Lada babasangan niyam do po si Antonio. Anthony, clean the Catholic Church, St. Joseph Church. Como tiuli si Antonio, giyaan yan at sarsagado. Anthony, hadabaw isiputuran ni nalan, Katoliko San Jose. Anthony, hanagas ka hadabaw i-eskwela, i-elementaryo, dan adzi high school. Anthony, hanagas ka ikantunsalan, hadabaw ikantunsalan, dan adzi siya private property, i-pripiadat, taw-taw. Anthony, edi man malango, ni tisinya, at suda basulan niya. Dati sinya utod sa niya makto si Antonio dato, ganaw di badya. Si Antonio ang gingwa grasya malum iatulay, mamahan si Antonio atulay dana, iya siya man malango di badya. Bulas tinakilis daw no napatgun bidalnya. Pos guahon ay ni lumili ni manahami. Wahu pa gusang nganyam do. Hadis tinataw-taw. Hadis tinapatgon. Damo nga matsuli ipalabraw. Na, ay sa matugin ni si Ben Menu, dadura sa nganyam po siya Antonio. Panudong na idem faisin na Diyos siya. Kau magahid yung satangan. Da infan inepitati. Ini nga si Pauli. O kakasi si Anthony lako. Sa mumusitan na parang Pauli esta. Sa puniguan ay magagunya para muna kumot ganyan. Pero di imembro kaya lumigi maduus na. Sa daw na uli si Anthony Gikominida inalan dan interu isengrung logof daw lokoy na baybayli na unugwihi gi board of director. Sa maulik mamatinas desisyon, siguro do na iispehus, masyadang nga silunya. Iispehus, anaatan na alam iispehus, siyempiali hadigwi, da faisin maisagwi, da iultimo, sana yung mano do panalulo do, mano do di pa mafananan na idizu, apa do mafananan na sigaw lumiliko, todo do proli kwituran niya. No? Lana iultimo na ilek niya, udong exit, giparudong lang niya, you wanna see the monkey? Go to that cave. It's a cave. And look in. Ay. Utatidi na yadui madilitreya, the sign. And I went inside the cave and I look at the monkey and in the middle, there's a big ispeo, the mirror lake. And yung atalalong gawulili, like kulako daw diablo. Sa hunggan magat na uli monkey. Bueno, honorably, dignidad todo na senador dan senadoras who i-hate si dahuniningi na inai si Antonio Noeno. Con formalidad, sincero, honesto, honorable, respeto, yang kotisiya. Na hunayam do giningwaho, na daho na baili, estinakilizano, na usaw no, gwini para o membro Board of Directors para i puesto. Si Zeus Masi.
Si Zeus Masi, Mr. Meno. And Ms. Heidi Bendorf.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I'm honored to be here today. My name is Heidi Bendorf to give favorable testimony 100% behind the appointment of Mr. Charala to the board, the Port Board. I think you all know, I've worked with Tony over the years at Guam Waterworks. Maya, several of those awards that Tony won, I nominated him. I don't nominate unless they deserve it. He truly deserved those awards. I was very, very proud of Manager of the Year and the other awards that he won. So thanks for bringing that up. Most of you do not know, but I had a career in nonprofit administration. In my experience as the CEO of United Way. We don't have United Ways on Guam, but I ran one for 10 years. And one of my main jobs was to mentor and train boards of directors. United Ways deal with nonprofits. I don't believe Tony knows this, so just as a side. And the reason why I state that is it's very important to have a board member who understands the role of the board member. That is to set policy, okay? That is to be guidance to the manager and the management. It's not to micromanage. And I have to say, here in Guam, what I've observed is we do have micromanaging going on the board. So as an aside, I know you will get not a micromanager in Mr. Charala. You will get a policy maker, someone who knows how to use his extensive contacts, all of his years of experience to grow the board in the direction that it needs to go. And I think we know the next several years are going to be huge for the Port Authority. So you can't get a better candidate than Mr. Charala, and I'm very happy to be here today to recommend him 100%.
Thank you, Ms. Bendorf. And if there are no other people here to testify, I'd like to call up the nominee now. Go ahead, Mr. Charala, you may proceed.
Honorable Chairman, Senator Clynton, Ridgell, and the committee members of the 35th Legislature, good afternoon and half a day. I do have a written statement, and I'll continue reading, but I'd like to point out a few words. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you that showed up here today in support of my nomination. I really appreciate there's a lot of them that this room would have been very filled. I was asked by a lot to come and testify. However, I am coaching a game today at around 5, so I'm really very busy, and so I actually asked a lot to not show up simply because I didn't want to prolong this process. As a matter of fact, as a matter of record, I also made my write-up pretty short. Anyhow, my name is Anthony P. Charala, and I am from the village of Inalahan. I am married with 2 daughters. My wife's name is Angelica Blas Charala, and my 2 daughters are Colleen and Kaylee. Colleen is here. She works at the AG's office. My other daughter, though, just had class at 2 at the University of Guam, still pursuing a degree. I am honored and humbled by the confidence of Governor Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio for nominating me to serve as a member of the Jose D. Leon Guerrero Commercial Port Board of Directors. I am privileged to be before this committee seeking confirmation for my nomination as a member of the board. I retired from Guam Waterworks Authority in April 2018, last year, after serving the authority for 30 years. I began my career as a water sewer maintenance worker 1, an entry-level position, promoted to a worker 2, and then to a sewer plant leader, sewer plant supervisor, wastewater plant superintendent, and in 2003, I was promoted to the assistant wastewater manager position. At the end of 2003, Guam Waterworks was served with a court-stipulated order which spelled out all the issues GWA had to adhere and comply with in order to avoid receivership or privatization. At this time, the GWA board had hired a gentleman by the name of Mr. David Craddock as the new general manager. Upon review of my resume, Mr. Craddock had requested for me to be the assistant general manager of operations, which I accepted in February of 2004. My family, friends, and co-workers of GWA believed I was insane to accept the position at that capacity, knowing full well that GWA would be working under the microscope of the federal EPA and the courts. I, however, believed that the existing employees were capable to accomplish the task in managing the court order. We just had to change the mindset of the employees in not just wanting to make a difference, but being the difference. Through the years, Guam Waterworks, with its existing employees, took this bull by the horn and made the changes and adjustments necessary to manage the court order and make GWA an efficient, productive, and highly motivated organization today. If confirmed, I will contribute my operational knowledge and managerial skills in assisting the port to achieve operational efficiency, develop sound policies, and ensure continued success to the port, and most importantly, to the employees who contribute to the success of the port on a daily basis. I would like to thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the committee members for the opportunity to provide my testimony, and I humbly ask for your kind and compassionate approval on my nomination. I'd like to add on a little bit more. I do have some philosophies in my life, especially at work. I believe in, I have this slogan, and literally the whole community of Inaran knows the slogan I use. Is the slogan I keep and I try to share with everybody in the community is this: focus on solutions and not excuses. Focus on results, not reasons. I'm also a man that never settles for good, nor do I settle for better. I'm always out looking for the best. So with that in mind, I know right now the port's motto is Port Strong. I don't think I'm going to settle for that. It's going to be Port Stronger or Port Strongest. Definitely, so obviously, I'm really excited on simply because the port has a lot of operational things going on out there. I can almost associate or relate to what's going on there. They're not in a position to be privatized or taken over in terms of receivership. But I'm almost certain, 100% sure, that there's an opportunity to change the mindset of those employees on how do we best operate or adopt and accept and put to place best practices in order for us to bring the port to full fruition and full efficiency. How do we get it there? And I'm one individual. I'm so against bringing outside entities from off island to come in here and try to tell us what we need to do. I personally feel that if you put your heart into anything, the resources and the knowledge and all the experience is well within our reach, right here within our community. The port, I know, has great employees. I don't have any family member there. I don't want to really make that claim because I'm not really sure. But I do have some individual friends that are there. And, you know, the stories they have to tell me are very exciting. And it's something, and I know there's a clear opportunity for me to contribute to this organization. I know they're a fairly large organization like Guam Waterworks. I've been introduced to the different board members that exist. So I'm very excited. I really want to contribute. I really wish I could have started since yesterday, but unfortunately I have to go to this body, and I thank you very much for all the opportunity. I'm open for any questions, or be mindful I have a game at 5.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Charala. We'll keep that in mind. Just a couple of questions.
Sure.
Just as I asked the previous nominee to the Port Board, what are your thoughts and what is your opinion on the YTK issue currently before the Guam Supreme Court?
As you mentioned, it is with the Supreme Court. I prefer to reserve any kind of comments regarding that. There is a process in place, and I like that court process to finish off before and quite frankly, I don't have a lot of information regarding that. So I just kind of like to reserve any comment with that.
Okay, thank you. Also, your background is in various capacities at Guam Waterworks Authority, which you spoke about, and many other people spoke highly of you in that regard. how do you see yourself using your experience to benefit the port?
Okay, so I do have very good understanding about how operations work. I know if I was to go out there and at point blank ask anyone, how many cranes do we have? They're obviously going to potentially say 3, 4, 5, whatever the case may be. I always look at how do we best improve. I'm a man, I don't accept status quo, you know. So if there's room and opportunities, I bring a fresh set of eyes and a lot of perspective on how do you not continue doing what you're doing. So I want to be able to bring what I have learned, and that is, there's a concept that says you start something, you stop something, or you continue something. I am almost certain that there's things going on out of the port, again, with a fresh set of eyes, that either we can go ahead and stop. Maybe it's costing just too much. The cost-benefit analysis doesn't work. Let's stop that. Let's adopt or start something new that can bring efficiency, or even, because I know offloading the ships, which is one of the big primary functions, it's a relative to time. So if we're used to doing offloading this particular ship at 16 hours, let's evaluate, why does it take that long? Is there something else in this process that we could cut out or totally remove and extract and reduce that number down to 9? Because then now we're talking about profitability or the ability to make money, and, you know, with the least amount of resources. So again, looking at operations, the way they operate from a different perspective, I think is going to be beneficial to the board. And, you know, more importantly, if you're able to reduce governmental costs, that's something that you save back to our ratepayers. So anytime that we are able to do that, and, you know, at Guam Waterworks, there were a lot of opportunities for us to save lots of money. And I'm going to give you, there's a million examples I could share, but I'll share one in particular. So when I took over as the Assistant General Manager of Guam Waterworks, one of the things I took a look at is this: how much money are we actually spending out? One of the big high-ticket items was the amount of money that we're paying to the Navy. And interestingly enough, again, this is maybe going to educate you, but hopefully there's value here. There was, for many years, Navy was one of the biggest supplier of water to a lot of our residents here in Guam. Over time, projects were established and built upon, and in often cases, there were parallel new water lines adjacent to these existing old Navy water lines. Unfortunately, services were never transferred to the new GWA water line. We still relied on the Navy water line. And what we were doing actually was we were paying off Navy for a water line that's literally 10 feet away. So we embarked on a very big project to make sure all those services were transferred to the new water line, resulting in millions of dollars of cost savings to our ratepayers. And that, to me, just one move made a big world of difference. And those are the kind of opportunities I know exist out at the port. I know, you know, you can be working there for a very long time, but you can't just be thinking, sometimes not even in the box. You literally need to get way out there and take a look at it. And I'm the kind of individual that you're not going to make me believe that I'm going to sit in an office and have to listen to all the data and whatever. I need to go out there to the field and look at it. I mean, I'm not dark because I was born dark. I'm dark because I'm out there. And so just assure you, I'm going to be out there working hand in hand with a lot of the employees. And I know for the most part, I bet you all the answers that the port is struggling with right now exist within its employees. It's a matter of you just creating an environment where it's open and they're comfortable enough to open up to you. And those answers just literally just pop up. And of course, I'm going to look brilliant and bright when I start bringing all these ideas up to the forefront, only potentially as the guy in the lowest echelon that's probably providing those solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Charala. I'd like to allow my colleagues now the opportunity to ask questions or have comments, beginning with committee members, beginning with Senator Regine Biscoli.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to just Masi, Mr. Charala, for accepting the governor's nomination and, for your continued service, hopefully in this capacity, to the people of Guam. My grandmother's from Minalaha, and I know that you brought like half the village here with you, and these people are representing everybody else who's not there, so I appreciate hearing from people to kind of illuminate some of the things that we received in your packet, because it really gives us an opportunity to hear about the people that we're attempting to confirm, not just their education and their work background, but also, how they are and how they've contributed to our community. So I really want to thank everybody who's participated in the confirmation hearing, and thank you for stepping up to the plate. You know, I really appreciated what you said previously in your testimony about changing mindsets, and I think that that's really important for us to continue to do across our government, and to not just, in your words, not just make a difference, but be the difference for our people, and to look towards solutions and not excuses. In that vein, I wanted to ask you if you could tell me, I know you're not completely in port operations yet, but just, I guess, from an outside perspective, looking in and bringing all your experience from waterworks, I wanted to ask you what you think your maybe top 3 priorities would be once you're seated on the board.
Okay, so I haven't really given that a lot of thought. However, I do know that the port did secure, I believe, something like $72 million bond funds. And there are projects that they've outlined. I've kind of taken a real quick look at it, and the question that comes to mind is, the amounts that were set aside, is that really reflective of what is really needed, or is there cost savings that can be done with that? So that's something I want to look at, is and you know, they also talk about maybe an admin building and what have you to build. So these are looking at that and making sure that what we're actually paying for, or what the intent was, is actually going to be executed in that manner, and not so much, you know, detoured or derailed. The other one is that like I mentioned earlier, one of my biggest priorities is really obviously going to be a very big part of operations. It's about getting in touch with all the folks that work in those respective areas, finding out, just talking to them, find out what is exactly, you know, the stuff that you can contribute so that we can improve. Obviously, we're a decision-making body, but the more information we make, the better decision we're going to make. I mean, you know, the more information I get, the better decision we're going to make. And, you know, there's something I also share with this body is, you know, we always look at issues and we sometimes overthink these issues. I've learned at work, being the manager, honestly, when there's a very hard, very task-oriented project, I actually look for the laziest guy in the organization, because that lazy guy is going to find the easiest way to get it accomplished. And you know, quite honestly, again, that's literally from years of experience. And you know, I find the laziest individual, I bring them out to the site, have them look at it, evaluate it, come back with all the ideas. I call all the rest of the managers in, and all of a sudden I look brilliant. So I've learned so many things, and these are some of the things I will bring to the port. So if you see me talking to somebody, he may be the lazy guy, you know, so.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charala. I appreciate your responses, but I also just really appreciate, you know, the experience that you bring to the table. I think with the existing board members and some of the new ones that could be confirmed, I think it creates a lot of good diversity on the board, and I just really look forward to you providing those checks and balances, you providing that proper oversight, and really being the eyes and ears, not just for this body, but for the entire community, and making sure that our resources are being put to good use, and that we are doing the best possible job we can for our people. So, Sujus Masi, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Therese Talahi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. When I first looked at the packet, there's no pictures that go along or anything, so I was like, oh, I don't know this man, but your resume by itself was so very impressive to me. I very much appreciate the fact that, you know, you started in one position at Guam Waterworks or PUAG, and you moved up into management and several different management positions, in fact. And so that was just your resume. And then, of course, the resume also includes the MAGPRO Awards and the other leadership awards that you've been recognized for. And so I was impressed to start with, which is hard, I think, to do, just from a resume. And but I have to say, then came the testimony, right? And so starting off with Ken Yongareros in support, I almost started, you know, giggling, because wow, that's like rare too, right? So that's very good, and so that's a good start. And then, but the testimony was, I thought, oh wow, that's a really good testimony. I have to compliment them on their testimony. Then came the next testimony, and that was a really good testimony too. And of course, it was that they were eloquent. They talked about things that I just feel so very honored to hear, you know, that I'm proud. You make us very proud that, you know, for all of the people of Guam, that we have a person like this in our community who just has continued to give and lead. And I'm really impressed with the leadership parts that's been outlined by many of those speaking. I like the fact that I think it was Chief Subba who said you could argue with the best of them, but tactfully. And so that's a skill that you're going to need, I am sure, on this board, among many others. And that your experience appearing before the CCU, and just this experience that you have is really perfect. It's going to give this employee perspective, yet management perspective, yet solutions-oriented perspective, yet you know, you've had to deal with the board before, and so I am sure as a board member, you're going to really just bring a very elevated, you know, just the feeling of this board. So I don't know, I believe that. Of course, Father Joe, you are very eloquent. I guess I need to hear your homilies because they must be as eloquent as that, but it was very eloquent, and I was really moved when you pointed out, you know, what people need to be good leaders, and that this man has knowledge, skills, and capability, and your definition of capability as, you know, involving your heart, and that with that, and I especially like that you pointed out that you believe he will rise above personal interests and partisan interests. And of course, that's what we are concerned with board members. They're all appointed by governor, we're approved by us politicians, and but we do want that from you. We expect that from you, so I'm happy to hear that you're up to that challenge to rise above those types of interests. And that you've proven it, I guess, with many of your
Yeah, I have a simple family rule, and the rule is I need to be able to sleep at night. I don't get a lot of sleep, but, you know, I need to sleep at night, so the decisions I make are going to be reflective of who I am. I also want to say this, that I built a reputation for myself. I am a pretty hard individual, but you know what? Everything I do is under, like I always told my board before, I only work for two people, work for the people of Guam and my Lord. And so with that said, you know, just know that I'm not going to be in a position where I'm going to be manipulated by any means. Every decision I make is going to be in the best interest of the people of Guam, especially also if it's something that impacts the employees of the port. I'll just make, for the record, I want to say this, that as assistant GM, I barred a lot of contractors from doing any work with GWA simply because they were coming and offering me all kinds of goodies, and that's something I always tell people, I got to be able to confront my parents who have actually, you know, taught me the value of life, the morals I need to follow, and the rules of principles of life. So I could have been a lot better off today. I could have owned a boat and a bunch of other things, but I choose otherwise. So everything I ever own, I work for, and that's going to be the same. I pass those same principles to my kids, and I want them to be able to witness firsthand that you're still able to rise the ranks in life, but still do what is right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charala. What you just said about the contractors, to be honest with you, you know, I'm a lawyer, and I've seen that kind of thing, but I've never heard anyone who had repeated experience and actually barred people from contracting the government. I want to thank you for that. Thank you. And of course, Mrs. Ocampo and her husband's testimony, oh, hello. And it was such an excellent testimony. They talk about your character, but really my favorite part, I wrote it down because it's rare. She said, you inspire others to service, and I think that's the greatest thing that anybody can really do. It's what we really need right now, and so thank you for all of these things. You know, the port now is facing very complex issues, and it's going to require your dedication, which I think you will give to it, but your time also. So even, you know, just joking in here today about time, and maybe if you could just give us a clear perspective as to, are you able to dedicate the time to this endeavor? I know you can dedicate the heart and everything, but yeah.
I'm actually retired, so this is going to be the new chapter of my life. I never once ever imagined being a part of a board. I used to be on the other side being grilled and drilled, and now it appears I'm going to be on the other side. I have a whole understanding of what it feels like to be the other side, so I'm going to be a little bit more compassionate when trying to be, but yes, time-wise, I'm free, I'm open. I mean, I know our priest said that, I'm not superhuman, although I'm sure he wants to say that. Maya over here said that, I spend so much time doing all this stuff, but really, I'm sincere when I say that I'm going to be a very big part of this, and everything is possible. I mean, I believe we brought man to the moon. The Egyptians built the pyramids with no equipment, so what is the problem? I'm just saying, that's my attitude, and we're about, moving mountains, so that's where I'm at.
Thank you. All right, and then, yeah, it's going to take some time, I think, just to make sure you know everything there is to know before you vote in these matters, and they're going to come to you immediately, so it's going to take some immediate time also. And so, but I want to thank you for your dedication, for your willingness to do this in your retirement, and I think it's just a great package or everything. I want to thank Mr. Mano, everyone for showing us all the different aspects of you that we can be so very proud. I'm actually inspired myself, and I'm honored to be in this position. I don't know why we are like judging anybody, but it's an honor to help you to become a member of the port board. I think it's going to be good for the people of Guam. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Talahi, and thank you for saying that, Mr. Chargaloff. I agree, the same thing you say. I say it all the time. We put a man on the moon, or we put people on the moon, and same thing, the Egyptians built the pyramids. We are capable of so many things, so I really like that attitude that you have, that we are capable of anything we put our mind to. With that, I'd like to allow Senator Amanda Shelton to ask questions or comment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here today, Mr. Chargaloff. I was so pleased to meet you last night and then to see you here again today before us. I just am very impressed by the testimony that we received today in support of your nomination, and I heard what stood out to me the most is that you're a man of service, and I believe Pali described you as a servant leader, and that's something that really we need, especially in the government. So I'm excited to see you in this position. And something else that stood out to me was that you're not afraid of challenge and you're not afraid of change, and I think that we really need that. We need your set of fresh eyes, as you said, to serve us in the port while you really recognize the duties and responsibilities that you'll be taking on, because it's not an easy, I'm sure it's not going to be an easy place to serve in, but you seem like a very strong-willed man who's a man of integrity, and so you have my support. And Seduas Masi for accepting the appointment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Shelton. Senator Will Castro.
Magas gi Komitean para Autoridad Puerton Guahan, 2 años tati hutunga astino gi fenotmo senyor meno kilizano or kiluhustano. I do concur with the earlier testimony that there's some serious concerns that are going to be before your board, and it's evidence in the media, it's in the board minutes and court dockets. Concerns that undoubtedly would challenge the tenacity of the board to do what's always in the best interest of the people of Guam. But even with that said, para ba natungwa pago, membro siya gi legislatura, tani publiko, naman eega estina programa pago, estiano hutungo para hago, Senyor Chargaloff, malati tomtum, zatuna na si kariramo. And with that said, you have my unqualified support. My unqualified support. Donkulo respetuhu para guahu, para hagu gizagwa. I do want to bring up some issues of substance here, aside from embellishing upon your accomplishments and your character. I think everybody did a fine job here in speaking to your character. The Port Authority initiated discussions relative to a regional maritime law enforcement training facility. It's certainly my hope that you can continue to build upon that foundation, to build strong regional partnerships, to hold fast to the fidelity of modernization, not just for the purposes of strengthening law enforcement, but for curtailing narcotics and human trafficking, but also for the express purpose of facilitating trade among and between our island neighbors. I really believe that it's the key to trade, to controlling contraband, to sharing limited resources, and also for the transfer of technology and intelligence by and between our fellow jurisdictions. And I also want to close on a lighter note, Mr. Chairman. Atana pagku lokwisa ma matutodusia nutautaw inalahan. Fernandos na chisma man matulokwi, they're not from Inarahan. You have all kinds of people come. Presidente gi inet nunalahin guahan. You even have the father of your parish here. So if they're all standing with you, you know, who could be against you? But in all seriousness, munga no muna lepbuk ifenoho jangen husangani hamzu na baihu bota ho para uma comfort me para I membro gi autoridad Puerto Guahan. Sejus masi puri sebeshamu. Thank you. God bless you. God speed to you and your family. And thank you again for accepting.
Thank you. Just to give you a reassurance, money is not a driver for me. As a matter of fact, I've told people and boards that I came from eating coconut and breadfruit, and I'm not afraid to go back. As a matter of fact, the clothes I wear today, I just borrowed this, so I have to return it by 5.
All right. Thank you, Senator Castro, and thank you, Mr. Chargala, for your testimony and all of those who provided testimony today. We appreciate it, and again, as you said earlier, that you want to make decisions that you believe will be the best for the people of Guam, and decisions that you can sleep with at night, and I just encourage you to stick by those principles, because there will be many hard decisions ahead on the Port Board. Thank you very much. This concludes today's hearing. This committee will continue to accept any written testimony on the items discussed today. Please provide written testimonies to my office at 238 Archbishop Flores Street, Suite 906 at the DNA building in Hagåtña. You may send it via email to send.cridgell@teleguam.net, or you may send it by fax to 671-475-4768. This hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.